This is the Infinite Receiving Podcast, helping conscious leaders like you tap into a wealth of abundance across all areas of your life and business. My name is Susie Ashworth. I am a single mom of 3 and author of the Sunday Times best-selling book, Infinite Receiving: Crack the Code to Conscious Wealth Creation and Finally Manifest Your Dream Life. On this show, I'll be sharing with you how you can upgrade your identity and your reality to create the life that you have been dreaming of. Because you are ready to be an infinite receiver. Hello, you gorgeous, gorgeous human beings. It is Susie Ashworth here, and you are listening to the Infinite Receiving Podcast. That was a cute one, wasn't it? I wasn't expecting that. I am super hyped, excited, and pumped to be in your earbuds today. I am still loving on 2025 hardcore. And that is not to say that I am not dealing with my fair share of duality. Like, there's shit going down. My kids are kidding. My tweens are tweening. And I have definitely been tested in many ways, shapes, and forms this year. And at the same time, there is this just underlying feeling of gratitude, excitement. The rocket ship is still in full gear. And I just feel really confident. I don't know whether certain is the right word, but I'm going to use the word certain that this is an extraordinary year for us as a company and also me as an individual. So, as I say, all of this, it is not from a place of everything is perfect, because it's not, but I feel like I know where it is that I am going. The team are fully on board, and that feels amazing. And we have got some incredible things up our sleeves for you. We are heading into a 3-day live virtual event in March. We have not done anything like this since really COVID times, and we have never delivered this training before. And so I love the fact that we are innovating within the brand. The brand is evolving. The conversation is deepening. And for those of you who want to come along for the ride, you are so welcome. I think that this comes off the back of what felt like an extraordinary quantum shift. And it's like, how do we do this again, but sooner? And let's go virtual. This training is going to be very specific. It's all around people who want to know best practice for creating a 6-figure plus coaching business now. And off the back of that, I've creating this mini series that you are going to receive part 1 of today, where I am breaking down exactly what I would be doing and where I would be focusing my attention if I was starting my coaching business today. And even if you are not brand new to this world, or you are not particularly desiring to become a coach, if you are a healer, if you are in a service-based business, if you deliver programs online or group coaching or retreats, if you kind of tick any of those boxes, what I have to share with you, particularly in today's session, is going to be super helpful. And I really want to assure you that everything that I am sharing, I have been paying very specific attention and intention to in my own business. And everything that I am sharing with you is stuff that I have been working on for the last 6 months. Stuff that I've been working on in my own business, stuff that I have been sharing with my clients. And just, this is very real time. It's real time. It's really working. And you would be cray, ray, not to really listen, be taking notes, listening again, and then asking yourself, where am I not implementing this? Or how can I implement this at an even deeper level if you feel like you are doing some of what I'm sharing already? So without any further ado, I wanted to share with you the first piece of the puzzle that I would be looking at if I was starting my coaching business from scratch right now. And I think actually in the last episode, I talked about whether you're looking to make six figures or seven figures, it's the same thing, it's sales. But before you get to sales, you have to know who your one dreamboat perfect buyer is. That is where we start. And like I say, for some of you who have been around the block a little bit, that might feel like a bit of an eye roll, right? Oh, how bloody basic can we get? And I've done this a million times. I know who it is that I'm speaking to. And the truth is that whenever I look at people whose businesses have plateaued, if you're in business right now and you're not earning 10K a month, I can guarantee you, without any shadow of a doubt, there is work to do on your one perfect dreamboat client. I can guarantee it. And if you're not doing 1 million a year, I can guarantee that there is refinement that you can be applying to your one perfect dreamboat buyer. So get your ego out of the way and ask yourself, am I being specific enough? Because that is the number one mistake that people make when it comes to doing this work. They are way too broad. They are talking about their 30 to 55-year-old mum who lives in the village, who wants to be less stressed. I mean, who doesn't? You know, you might think that that is specific. It is not. It's the same thing actually that I used to say to pre and postnatal specialists who would say, my target is pregnant women. I'm like, do you think that if you put 100 pregnant women in front of you, that they would all have the exact same mindset, the exact same approach, the exact same desires when it comes to the type of birth that they want, the type of pregnancy that they are willing to cultivate for themselves? Do you think that your target audience is not all pregnant women? There is a frequency, there is an energy, there is a way of thinking that your dreamboat client has, that when you have the courage to speak directly to, it will become a game changer for you. And in one of the later episodes, I'm going to speak to you about a way to create content to tap you into my content conversion machine, which one will enable you to never run out of content, but two will help you to start selling your products before you have even said hello to your one perfect dreamboat client. But you cannot utilize that system before you know who it is that you are speaking to. So why is it that people insist on speaking really broadly and really generally? And the truth is one, they're afraid to be specific in their promise when it comes to their offer. They do not have 100% confidence that if they go all in and say, I'm looking for the person who wants to make six figures in 12 months in their coaching business. I'm looking for the woman who wants to go from feeling super dry to gushing in 21 days. I want to speak to the person who is ready to show up on camera every single day and book another £5,000 worth of business. As soon as you start getting specific like that, people get antsy. But what if I can't? What if they don't? There are too many variables. Now, what is true is that there are loads of variables. Sometimes it can feel very challenging to guarantee stuff because key variable is the person who is in front of you. And when you are working with your one perfect dreamboat client and you create a standard for yourself where you refuse to sell your offer to anybody who is less than ideal, there is a certain way that your dreamboat client shows up in the world that will ensure that they are able to make a certain level of progress. And it is that certain level of progress that you share. You know, what's super interesting to me is recently I had a new one-to-one client start. She paid a 12K deposit to get going. And within 72 hours, she had sold a place in one of her programs for £12,000. There were no guarantees about that, but there is something that happens when people come into my space and are working with me in close proximity. When it is a dreamboat client, that activates them, which means that they will go out and they will sell. They will go out and they make shit happen. I've also had people who come into my world who don't do that at all, who go into hiding, who go into contraction. And what I've learned is that there is a certain attitude, there are certain things that the dreamboat client says that the person who's about to go into contraction doesn't. And the person who is about to rock it and roll it takes complete ownership of where they are at and the results that they want to create. And so our job moving forward is to really ensure that we are clear about the way that our perfect dreamboat client thinks, the way that they act, what it is that they are going to do, because that then makes it way easier for us to make declarations around the type of results that they are going to get when they step into our program. The other thing that I notice actually is that often people get in their own heads. So they don't realize that they're sitting on the most incredible promise that actually they would feel 1,000% comfortable with offering just because they can't see it. And just through having a conversation, they're able to see like, oh, okay, that's the promise. That's the specificity that I have been ducking and avoiding. But no, I get it. And I absolutely feel great about promising this. The reason that people are able to get to that through a conversation is to also understand how to structure their offer in a way that really supports people in getting the results. There's a couple of things there, but my main point is that people go broad and general because they're talking to too many people, because they're scared that if they talk to somebody specifically, that they are not going to make more sales. And they're going to make even less sales than what they are already making. Like I've had people say to me, like, I am not selling already. Why would I want to cut out even more of the market? And what they don't understand is that the reason that you're not selling more is because you're speaking to too broad a market. And the moment that somebody is able to engage with your copy and your creative and say, oh my goodness, it's like she is in my mind. Oh my goodness, that is the exact thing that I want. You move people from, God, that sounds amazing. That's so good, to, oh no, that sounds amazing. That's so good. I'm ready to buy. How do I buy? Otherwise, you get people saying, this is amazing. I'm so excited. I'm inspired. But they are not taking the next step because you're not speaking specifically to their needs. And in that situation, what you are hearing again and again and again is that this sounds amazing, but it's too expensive. This sounds amazing, but it's not the right time. This sounds amazing, but if you are getting that, I can guarantee you without any shadow of a doubt, it's because you are not speaking to your one perfect dreamboat client. And I don't mean that's the person that you're getting on the phone, although that is also true. I mean that your copy, your messaging, your emails, your Facebook posts, your Instagram, none of that is speaking to your one perfect dreamboat client. And that impacts every single stage of the customer journey. So where I'm starting, if I'm beginning my business in 2025, is I am working out who the heck it is that I'm speaking to. Now, if you are listening to this as somebody who is an inspiring coach, you might be like, okay, I get it, but how am I supposed to know who it is that is my one perfect dreamboat client? Like I've never done this before. Don't worry, I got you. And it might sound like I'm about to contradict myself, but this is just a process. So for you, as somebody who is brand new to this world, actually, you're going to work with as many people across the spectrum as possible. Where you might choose to start to give you a tiny bit of direction is just, what are the things that I find really interesting? What are the things that I think might be super fun to work with people on? And then I might be more general and direct people in a slightly more, I might say I am interested in somebody who wants to lose weight. or somebody who wants to give up smoking, or somebody who wants to start a business. And I've got these practice sessions. And so you might start being slightly general, specific, or you might just say, look, I've got free coaching sessions. We can talk about whatever you want. And by the end of the coaching session, you're going to have one, two, or three key action steps for you to go ahead with. And what's going to happen is as you start to work with people across a really broad spectrum, you're going to be like, oh, that type of session was terrible. Or that was really fun. I felt really energized. I want to do more of that. And then as you work with people in more of that area, they're going to speak to you about what else is going on in their lives. Other things are going to come up and you're going to be like, oh, that feels exciting. I'm going to go more down that path. And this is exactly how I started. I did my hypnotherapy and psychotherapy diploma like 12, 13 years ago. And I thought, right, what am I going to specialize in? I know, anxiety and depression. And so I worked with a few clients who had anxiety and depression. And I thought, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to do this. This is not fun for me. This is not great. And so what I did was move then into hypnobirthing, which, to be fair, I was working with a lot of anxious parents, but it was a different frequency. It was a different vibe. It was a different energy. And that is where I found my comfort and my specialism to start with. And then as I was working with parents, pre and postnatal specialists started to approach me and say, how have you built this amazing brand? And then I started working with pre and postnatal specialists, but specifically around building an online baby business. And this was my niche for many years. And because I was willing to say, I am not teaching everybody marketing. I am teaching pre and postnatal specialists, not just marketing, but how to make your first £1,000 online. That is what I knew how to do. So that is what I sold. And because I was very willing to start where I was at, £1,000 online, not now, I'm going to teach you how to make six figures, or if you're a private client, like let's make the milli. I wasn't promising that. And I was still making six figures and multiple six figures within my first 3 years of business. So this is absolutely where I would start. And know that if you are afraid to do that, there is a frequency of scarcity that is going to stop you from attracting the people who are going to help you build your business, people that you can really help to make the difference that they want to make in their life, and the people that are really going to help you make a difference in your life. This is the co-creation. When you go broad, you stop yourself from doing that. So don't do that. Now, what is also really helpful to think about when you're thinking about your one perfect dreamboat client, for most people, when they are first starting out in coaching, they start with what they know and they start with their experience. So for me, my experience was building a hypnobirthing business. So when I started out business coaching, that is really what I was doing. I was helping people build hypnobirthing businesses primarily, and then it broadened out to sleep businesses and infant feeding businesses, but all around that pre and postnatal niche. I understood that audience because I was that audience. I understood where they got tripped up when it came to pricing and charging. I understood that most of them didn't know what an email list was because I didn't know what an email list was. I understood that most of them did not know how to get themselves onto the Huffington Post because I didn't know how to get onto the Huffington Post until I did it. You know, I was my perfect dreamboat client. That was a starting point. And so often I was speaking to myself just a few steps earlier. And for many of you, this will be a really great place for you to start thinking about your one perfect dreamboat client. If there is any ask yourself, what did I want? What did I need? So this is like level one. Level two is to understand that who you are being now is going to be the thing that is attracting people to you. So you're not only your perfect dreamboat client from 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, or even 5 weeks ago, you are your one perfect dreamboat client now. So when you think about how you show up in the world, I want you to know that who you are being is what it is that you're attracting. And I think I have talked about this before, but there's a resource that I have called the Magic 10, where I have 10 questions that I am asking, that those questions inform me about who I am being. I think I shared with you that there's a coach that I was working with that said, if you're trying to attract clients who have characteristics that you do not yet have, it is your job to raise your state of being so that you are the embodiment of those characteristics. And that was just a very, very powerful realization for me, specifically in my business life, but in my life all around me. If I want to attract friendships where people really care, how much am I caring? If I want to be the parent of children who are not screaming at each other when they don't get their own way, how often am I responding versus reacting? How often am I losing my temper? How often am I shouting, don't shout, because you get who you are? And so these 10 questions are super helpful when it comes to looking at where you need to up-level yourself in order to be a match for the type of client that you want to bring into your world. So question number 1, how does your one perfect dreamboat client like to make decisions? How do you make decisions? Do you spend months and years and coming back and forth, and I'm in and I'm out and I'm in and I'm out and I don't know what to do, and maybe even though I said that, oh, this is exactly what I wanted and I think that it's perfect, if that's you, guess what you're going to attract? How do they take action? I'm a quick start. When I sign up to a program, I'm straight in it. And it's funny, actually, because I realized that one of the things that needed to shift within our certification is to be making sure that people were getting really quick wins within 6 weeks. Otherwise, they would get bored. How do I know? Because that's me. I would think, oh, what am I doing here? Like, is this really working? Is this going to work? Is this going to be the same? Is this what I'm going to experience the whole time? Like, I start questioning. So when I've got a clear roadmap, action plan, this is what you're doing, it makes my nervous system calm. It's like I know what I'm doing and I can start taking action. So my dreamboat client is an action taker. Number 3, how do they deal with challenges? Is this somebody who throws a tantrum, starts being like, oh, well, I thought this, and well, this is your fault and that's your fault? Or is this somebody who rolls their sleeves up and gets on with it, asks themselves, what's the solution to this problem? That says, why is this happening to me? That's who I am. That's who I attract. So if these questions are useful to help you direct your attention, then just click on the link below, susieashworth.com/magic, and we will send you the questions to your inbox so that you can start upgrading your one perfect dreamboat client by being the model for what it is that you desire to attract. Okay, I hope that you've loved this episode. This is going to be one in a number of episodes within this series of like what I would do if I was starting from scratch again. If you know somebody who is, a healer, a spiritualist, just somebody who wants to move into the coaching world because they are fed up of working one-to-one. They want something that is scalable. They want to be able to move from charging £60 an hour as a counsellor to thousands as a coach, or creating packages that are worth thousands of pounds and selling them, then please direct them to this episode and this series. I am super, super pumped to be sharing all of this with you. I hope you love it as much as I do, and I cannot wait to be back in your earbuds next week. In the meantime, please remember that faith plus action equals miracles. And if you want the 10 questions, you just go to susieashworth.com/magic.
Thank you for listening to Infinite Receiving with me, Susie Ashworth. I'd love to share with you my Infinite Receiving activation audio. Go to susieashworth.com/activate infinite receiving.